Hi guys, due to the overwhelming response I got on Reddit, I decided to film my middle split routine a bit more formally instead of just having it on an Instagram reel. So, as always, please DM me because I don't want any of you guys to get injured. I'm not an expert at this, I'm just sharing with you what I do specifically for my middle splits. It may not work for you, but it's definitely worked for me. So, the most important thing that I want you guys to remember before you do this is warm up sufficiently. Don't go into stretching cold, okay? And I'm gonna assume all of you know how to warm up, but some of the stretches I do to warm up is I do leg swings. So I do 10 leg swings this way, and then I do 10 leg swings this way. As I come up on this sideways leg swing, I extend onto my tippy toes just to let me get a bit more range of motion. Okay, and when you're doing leg swings, make sure that you point your toes and draw your kneecap up so you're locking the quad. Okay, so the first stretch I do is a deep squat, and as you can see, my spine is very straight. If you're hunched over like this, then it would probably be a good idea to hold onto something so you can pull yourself up straight. Over time, you can let go of it and be freestanding. Another form thing I want you guys to remember is your heels have to be on the ground. If you're deep squatting like this, it's not what we want to see. So heels flat on the ground, okay? So the goal of this deep squat is probably about 30-45 seconds hold, and you're just wiggling from side to side, just opening up. Alright, the next stretch we're going to be talking about is the Cossack squat. So I use this Cossack squat as kind of a warm-up for the middle split as well. But it's not really so much a warm-up exercise, it's more like a strengthening exercise as well. So to do this, I'll just demonstrate what it looks like first. Like that, okay? So if I'm going to my left side, my right heel is going to lift off the ground. If you're a beginner, this is what your Cossack squat is going to look like. Right? Very small. But over time, as you develop the strength for it, you'll be able to go down lower. Okay? Some form cues here. Heel has to remain on the ground. So as you come up, I don't want to see your heel lifting off the ground, okay? So a proper form would look like this. A bad form will look like this. See how my heel lifted up? It's very important to keep your spine straight as well. So naturally, if you want to go lower, some people might forward fold to get a bit deeper. We don't want to do that. We want to isolate the movement into our hip flexors. So we want to stay upright the whole time. If you're progressing fast and you find that it's getting a bit too easy and you're coming down like this, the next step is to internally rotate your knee. So you'll come down, you bring your knee in, you come back up, and that would be 1 rep. So my rep range for this would probably be 2 to 3 sets of 8 to 10 reps. We don't want to go to physical failure, and we want to train outside of technical failure because we're stretching. We're not, burning ourselves out. So quite comfortably, just go to a range where you can be comfortable in, but you feel the stretch, okay? The next exercise I want to talk about is the 5-step horse stance. So after I do my Cossack squats and deep squat, I will go into my horse stance. So fitness FAQs and a guy called Antranik, I learned this from them. So if you want, go check them out, search them on YouTube. So essentially what you're going to be doing is feet together. You're going to go heels out, toes out, heels out, toes out, sink down, toes forward, okay? And we're going to hold this for maybe 45 seconds. Form for here, we don't want to be bent over like this. We want our spine to be straight as possible. We want our heels to be pushing on the ground, okay? When we push our heels on the ground, we activate our hip flexors. This is not a passive hold, it is an active hold. So, I'm not timing this, but I'm going to assume that's 45 seconds. I'm probably very far off, okay? So, horse stance, I'd probably hold about 2 to 3 sets. Initially, if you can only go for about 10-15 seconds, that's fine. It's just very important, since we're working in such a delicate area, you don't train to failure, okay? So I'd probably hold that about Yeah, 2 to 3 times, just depending on how much you can take. All right. So after this, I'd come sit on the ground. Beginners, you might not be able to sit like this. You'll be sitting like this maybe. But if you can, try to sit flat, toes here. And what we're going to be doing is just some light pulses side to side. I'd probably do this maybe 5 to 10 reps. My style of stretching is very informal. So yeah, I'm just showing you the exercises I do for it. There's no script or structure, I'm just trying to get it out of the way. Okay, so after that, this is probably, so all the exercises so far is, you can consider it the warm up, alright? For the main exercise, and the main exercise is frog pose, I think it's called. So frog pose is your main dish. If you consider like everything else, like the warm up and stuff, that's like your vegetables, your meat, this is the main dish. This is your bulk, this is your rice, this is your pasta, okay? So this is the exercise you should be spending most of your middle split training in. But it's important not to do it cold. You can't skip everything else. This is an exercise that has helped me get the most gains of my middle split, and it's the exercise that helped me maintain my middle split, okay? So with frog pose, I'll go sideways for this, for initially, but with frog pose, for beginners, you don't want to go too wide, okay? You just want to go to a width that's not too comfortable, but not too uncomfortable. And you may feel pain in your knees. So have a yoga mat, even put a pillow underneath it, okay? Notice how my butt isn't posteriorly pelvic tilted. Correct me if I'm wrong. Is this posterior pelvic tilt, or that's anterior, right? This is posterior.
That's anterior.
So I'm anterior now?
If you push forward, that's anterior.
Okay, yeah. So make sure you're not anteriorly pelvic tilted, or you want to stay in this posterior pelvic tilt, okay? So basically, don't wink your butt up and arch your back. Make sure you're like this. Make sure your knees are 90 degrees. So I don't want to see your ankle out here. I want to see your legs parallel with your hips and your knee and ankle in line. So the first set of frog pose is we're going to do 10 rocks back and forward. 2, 3, 4. It's important to spend a bit more time going on the rocking back motion, but again, you want to go nice and slow, don't push things. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. So, after this, if you're a beginner, I advise you rest. But if you feel like you can take a bit more, then I'd ask you to extend your leg, okay? With this leg extended, you're going to rock back and forth for 12 reps, or 8 to 12. And if this is too easy, then what you can do is, as you begin to rock back, you can extend your toe to the surface, to the roof, sorry. Just like that. And after the other side, after your 12, you do the other side. I'm skipping through this because I already trained today and I don't want to do it again. So, yeah, just like that. 2, 3, until you do your 12. So just to recap on this exercise, for beginners, just keep your foot planted. And then for advanced, you can slowly start to extend that foot up to the ceiling. The end goal of this is to get your glute on the ground. But again, go slow, don't push it. And finally, for this exercise, the last one after you've done both sides, left and right, I only do it once, but you can do the leg like maybe twice or 3 times. Just make sure you alternate the leg. You don't want to like go left leg, right leg, right leg. You want to alternate. But I only do one side each because this is the finisher kind of thing. So finally, we're gonna come onto our elbows. Make sure we're not anterior is it anterior? It's anterior, right? Yeah, make sure we're not anterior pelvic tilted. we maintain this shape. You're going to sink forward, and then exhale with your breath. You're going to push back, and the further you push, the deeper the stretch is going to be. Okay, but just be careful when you push. This is probably the most vulnerable moment you're going to be in. Okay, push, 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 breathe. I probably do this for about 8 to 10 reps. I only do 1 rep, but you can do this. 8 to 10 reps. I only do 1 set of this, but you can do this more than once. It just depends on how you feel. Because for me, I'd rather not overstretch. Like, the groin is such a tender area. I'd rather not pull things. So once is enough for me. But you guys can test your own limits. Just be responsible and careful. Okay, so once I've done my 8 or 10 reps, we are in a position just to finish off with a horse stance. So I just help myself up slowly, and I just finish off with a horse stance. Hold, 30 seconds, boom, done. And then, now that I've completed all my sets, I will do maybe 2 to 3 middle split attempts. And they are attempts. I don't expect much of them. Some days I may go down lower, some days I might be higher. There's no rush, okay? Just go slow with your stretching. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Just to recap, you start off with your deep squat, 2 sets maybe, 45 seconds. Then you progress on to your Cossack squats, 2 sets, 3 sets, 8 to 12 each side. Remember not to go to physical failure or technical failure. It's just up to your level. After that, you do 5-step horse stance, 2 sets of 45 seconds. If that 45 seconds gets too easy, you can perhaps hold a weight. But the goal of that exercise, I don't know, it is what you make out of it. But again, work up to that 45 seconds. I wouldn't go beyond 45 seconds. That's just me. And then finally, finish off with your frog. First, just do frog on your palms, rock back and forth. Then you extend your left leg, then your right leg, and then finally come down into your elbows. And then, last but not least, I'll attempt my middle split. So, so that was it. Again, you can contact my Reddit account if you have any questions. I would love for you to ask me questions because this was a very informal video. I did it in one shot. I didn't script anything or anything. It's probably just going to be a ramble. So apologies to you all for listening to it. But yeah, DM me if you've got any questions and good luck stretching out there.